This is MJ. I love Tokusatsu, and right now I want to talk about Kamen Rider Zero One, Episode 29. This is MJ Loves Toku 47. So, I have been sleeping on what a great character Isamu Fuwa is, or has been all this time. Actually, I'm going to say that he has grown into a good character. I know for a lot of people, he was a meme, or a lot of people seem to like him as a meme, or ironically, and the actor, was charismatic and had a YouTube channel, and I guess he played a precure cutesy animal character, and maybe it was a wolf, or anyway, so or that's what it seemed like anyway, and he kind of like played into that. But I've kind of been against him through much of the run of the show. There's been moments where I've really enjoyed his character and his development, but for the most part he has been genocidal against Humagears because of what happened with some Humagear at one point. He's a cop, or a paramilitary dude who's working for this organization which is secretly being run by a private company that has intentions and that's manipulating the market, and causing damage to people's lives in order to empower itself and increase its wealth, and all that stuff is bad. And I'm saying that as a libertarian, not as a not as a socialist, a Democrat, or anything like that. I believe ultimately in things that I think are very true to the spirit of Kamen Rider, and I know there are going to be people out there who disagree with me, but I think they're true to the spirit of Kamen Rider that Fuwa has expressed in this episode. And anyway, I was just really impressed by him, by his performance in this episode, both the acting and the changes in the character, what the character of Fuwa Samu has done. And I'm really impressed with where the show is right now, and with Amatsu Gai and how dastardly his plans are. And it struck me that Amatsu Gai is basically Shocker, and that makes me really happy. Maybe I'll get into that, but that thought hit me and I didn't want to let go of it. I had to say it before I went on. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the fact that this episode was written by Yuya Takahashi. Oops. Oh man, did I not save that information? Yuya Takahashi, the main writer of Our Dreams Don't Break, wrote this episode, and Teruaki Sugihara, who directed the last one, directed this. We got to see Sugihara, right? Yeah, Sugihara's great directing in the fight between the Lady Rider, Yuya, in her Jackal Raid Riser form against MC Check It Out, who is a dodo, and they had a great fight. There was lots of interesting camera work that was replicated in this episode, and that was all really good stuff. Sorry, I'll quit showing that. I guess, gosh, what do I want to talk about? It's really hard. It's really hard to, other than the fact that this episode was great and there was so much good stuff in it, it's a little bit hard for me to figure out exactly what to say right off the bat. I'm going to go with something a little bit trite. So Fuwa has learned, along with us, that there is a AI in the chip in his head for an individual called Naki, who's a Humagear, who's part of Metsubo Jinrai. And, well, I don't want to do a summary. I guess my point is, going back to the Shocker, Amatsu Gai's Shocker. Amatsu Gai has manipulated things so that he can gain power. He has gotten in with corrupt politicians. He has manipulated a company. He has stolen things, lied. He's hurt people. He's hurt, non-people, sub-people, whatever, Humagears, this different class of people who I think in the narrative are equal to humans, as I've expressed before. And he's done all of this to gain more power for himself. And we know, or at least he stated, that he has a vision for the future, that he will sell the Raid Riser belts as a form of weapons. And he wants to use Humagears as a scapegoat and a reason for people to arm themselves with these powerful weapons so that he can enrich himself by making an environment of fear. Now, that sounds a little bit more like Black Ghost's motivation. Shocker was looking for world domination. How does this all translate to world domination? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but perhaps he would manipulate people who become raid risers by putting a chip in their head that he can control and have an army of semi-cyborgs. Maybe that's what he's going to do, because that's what he did to Fuwa, and I believe they make it clear that he's doing this to Yaiba, although Fuwa asks her directly why she's doing what she's doing, and she says that she's doing things on her own because she wants to, and that everything that she's doing is her choice, which I have a hard time believing, especially when her body language has shown that she seems to want to fight against this jerk, not Fuwa, but Amatsu Gai, and she wants to help Fuwa when he's struggling against him. You know, she shows concern for him. She's a decent human being, other than the things that she's let herself be complicit to while working for Amatsu Gai. So it's a little confusing what exactly her motivation is. But all that being said, to take Amatsu Gai is Shocker, and therefore, actually, interestingly enough, Fuwa Samu is like the real Kamen Rider in the show, if you're going by show standards and what happened to Takeshi Hongo and Hayate Ichimonji. He has, in order, well, and here's the thing, the thing that makes Shocker even sicker and more deceptive, and a good analogy for this day, you know, for the modern era. I'm not talking about Trump, that doesn't matter, I'm talking about other things. Fuwa, as part of Ames, decided to do whatever he had to do to destroy Humagears, who he hated. So his hatred for Humagears and his desire to stamp them out because they're evil caused him to not question thoroughly, not thoroughly vet perhaps, what was going on. I believe he was deceived anyway, and Amatsu Gai wouldn't have been direct with him, and he would have put the chip in his head that could allow him to, you know, be hacked and be controlled and things like that. But ultimately, Fuwa cared more about destroying that which he hated than he did protecting that which he loves, to borrow something from The Last Jedi, my favorite Star Wars movie, possibly. And I think that's a really great thing. It's a really great message of warning to people that you have to be careful with what you're giving up in order to get what it is that you want to get. And every choice, and this is where the libertarian Austro economist stuff comes in, and just plain economics, every choice you make has opportunity costs. For everything you seek to gain, you have to give something up. All right, I was distracted by a great beauty, but I will continue. Everything has a choice, and you need to be careful. And well, I guess I'm going to betray my religiosity here by saying you need to count the costs before you do something. Are you willing to give up the thing you have to give up in order to get the thing you want to get? And I guess maybe the message here is this, or maybe I'm reading into it, is that, you know, at least to kids watching this, they could be a little more skeptical of things that are being offered to them and think like, hey, you know what, if I want to get this thing, what am I giving up, or what's the cost of getting that thing that I want? Because and this leads into the reason why I've disliked Fuwa so much, and I'll just crystallize it here because I already kind of touched on it before. He only cared about destroying Humagears. He didn't care about fixing them, repairing them, helping them to function alongside humans. He didn't care about ensuring that nobody ever got hurt the way he did. He just wanted to exact vengeance on the race that did this to him. And that's, I don't know, that's short-sighted, navel-gazing evil, I guess. That's like a benign evil because of a lack of introspection. It's kind of hard to define now that I'm saying it out loud, but I think you'll get what I'm saying by this, and I still agree, just I'm having a little bit of trouble articulating exactly what I mean. But what's beautiful about this is that every bit of trauma, every bit of pain that Fuwa has sustained throughout, and this is where I get back to the shocker and original writer thing. He has taken, and I love this crazy face he has when he's awake, because I know what it's like to, awaken to something and kind of be radicalized to something. There's a little bit of a mad fervor that you get when you realize that everything you thought you knew was a lie, and you're turning into something else. And you hear this with Christians, you hear this with converts of anything really, that the people who are recent converts are the most on fire and the most wild, and you can really see that in Fuwa's face right now. But anyway, I really loved the sequences he was henching with the whatever that big bullet thing is called. I don't know what it's called. Rage bullet, assault bullet. I don't care. All the toy names are too much for me to keep track of. But the point is, I love that he gets like hit with each one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess he gets hit with 7 different bullets, maybe 8 if you count Wolf too. Or is Wolf up there in the blue? I think it is. Yeah, so 7, and he's getting hit with each one of them, and each one pushes him back. Each one has an impact on him, and like I said, he's been hurt throughout his life, throughout the narrative, and each of those hurts has pushed him in a different direction. But finally, after healing and having time to reflect and really processing all those hurts, Fuwa has been able to take those hurts and that pain and use it as a motivation to survive all this stuff, to do what's right, and to find a dream for himself. And that's really cool. And another dimension to it is when he first started out, he did the unauthorized henshins, where he would tear the key open, and he did good acting, but it was also a little bit silly about how hard he was trying to rip the keys open. And then when he rips this one open, it felt so satisfying, and watching him struggle felt so satisfying, because he says afterwards that he's gonna fight his battles his own way, and he's gonna pursue his dream, whatever. But just knowing and having the setup in my mind of having seen him do that so many times with other things, where he was doing these unauthorized henshins, and then he's doing it here as the greatest act of rebellion he can to fight on in his own way. It was really beautiful and impactful, and I was really impressed with it, and it really sold me on the character. And I guess in a way it's interesting, because it was the way he'd gone about it, his method of breaking through and seizing his own authorization, so to speak. That's kind of what I'm all about, and that's like, I don't know, a real heroic, bold, beautiful way to see someone live, like to see someone have the deck stacked against them and yet persist and capture a goal that they're going after is really awesome. And I don't know, I feel like I'm just going on and blabbering now, but I really love that whole setup, and then how each of those animals turns into a bit of armor for him, and it completes his armor. And then it goes back, and it makes me think how cool it is that the base Vulcan and Valkyrie forms have half of their armor just white and blank, waiting to be filled in, and they're waiting to be filled in by something like this. And I don't know, just the idea of the potential baked into the design of the forms, both within the show, and it's like from a meta perspective, thinking about how well the design sense has been for the show is really cool, and I really appreciate it. And it's nice when you have that craftiness and that skill applied to the design of something, and you also like it, because there's plenty of Kamen Rider stuff that looks really good that I hate because it's not Kamen Rider. It's not living up to what it should be, like this stuff does. So I don't really think I have much else to say. I've gone on for a long time, other than I guess I'll say one more thing. When they said that they were going to kill Izu, I got really upset, and I was super it was a super tense moment, and it's okay. And it was great to see that Fuwa came to her defense, especially because I think she's an older model. Well, she's not like the old models, but she's a Humagear, and he hasn't destroyed her or tried to destroy her ever. She's never gotten close to going berserk. But now, I feel like almost even if she did almost go berserk that he would try to rescue her and save her and, preserve her, and let her be restored so that she can live her own life, make her own choices. Yeah, I don't really know what else I have to say, but I guess, I guess that all feeds into the Spirit of Kamen Rider thing. And now that Kamen Rider has been officially released in the United States, the first season, I think there was something from like the late 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, where, oh gosh, was it Hongo? I don't remember if the gloves were red or silver. Anyway, or maybe it was before the costume change. Anyway, whatever. The writer says to this lady that, like, life is life and he will protect life. Even if the person is good or evil, he'll still save their life because life is the most important thing. It's even more important than peace or justice. And that's a really beautiful sentiment. And I feel like Fuwa is in a place now where he could say that. And that's really fascinating to me. Also, I'm wondering if Naki's going to become free from him and get her own body. I mean, there's an actress for her and everything. And, we get flashes of her in this episode. And now that Fuwa's broken free of that, maybe she has been freed. Maybe she was already freed because we didn't get to see the conclusion of the Jin Hirobi confrontation. And gosh, I'm really wondering what's going on with Jin too, because he doesn't seem to be under Amatsu Gai's control anymore. I think he might even be free of the arc, but Hirobi's still stuck there, which it's cool to see. Hirobi was this dad Humagear, and he raised Jin, and now Jin has surpassed him and evolved into something else and someone else. Sorry. Lot of arrow over here. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm going to wrap it up there, or call it quits there, because this has just been going on for too long. I'm going to share with you my spiel and then highlight the podcast and then some of the merch I've been working on. So, MJ Loves Toku can be found on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Check out mgmunoz.com for my other review series, another writer cast. Here, I'll talk about it here. Another writer cast where I talk about all the writers from Kuga to Zio. I sample the first 2 episodes of all those shows. That's all there, already done. Then there's King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows, where I talk about all of Mobile Fighter G Gundam. I have Going Ultra, where I talk about SSSS.Gridman and other Ultraman series. Then there's Swinging Through Comics, where I've been covering mostly Marvel Comics. I've determined I'm going to do a bunch of the old Cap stuff from the 40s, and then I'll jump into more modern stuff, getting to the 60s, the boom of Marvel, the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and all that stuff. And then I've been talking about Clone Wars a little bit too, because those new episodes are coming out. So you can check all those things out. And let me see what else. Like I said, I've got merch. I have some Tokusatsu inspired designs. The tagline of this show is "You don't have to shout henshin to be a hero," and I put that design over some Super Sentai folks. You can get sticker, mug, shirt, whatever. I put it over a Kamen Rider design I made long ago in the 20th century, and also on a Ultraman inspired hero design that I made completely on my own, that I think is not trademarkable, and I should be able to keep it up and sell it and stuff. So you can check those things out if you're interested in supporting me in that way. I also have writing projects over on mjmunoz.com because I'm an aspiring writer, and I'll add more stuff there. I'm working on stuff behind the scenes, but I'll try to keep stuff up there once every couple weeks. Relevant links to all that are in the show notes. If you had a good time, like, share, and leave a comment. Subscribe and ring that bell to stay current on weekly 01 reviews. And remember, you don't have to shout henshin to be a hero. And tell me what you thought about all my philosophizing and whatever on Fuwa. And, does he almost feel like more of the hero to you than even Aruto? Does he feel like that classic writer to you? Do you think Amatsu Gai really is Shocker? And are you mad about Amatsu Gai winning? Because he won that 5-round thing and Aruto's no longer president, and there's all sorts of fallout from that. But I think it's pretty impressive that in a modern show, we've got the villain winning. He certainly won this round anyway, and I mean the show's going to continue, and in the preview for the next episode it was saying, I won't spoil things, it's saying that it's a new era, and that's all pretty exciting to me, because I feel like the show's doing stuff that's really different, and I'm happy that the shows are going to be like this, or that they're like this for a while, because it's nice that it's fresh and still entertaining. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm going to get out of here. Take care.